Hey, you want it? I got it. Let's talk about it. Hey, coming to you raw and uncut. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, hit the bell for notification for the next video. Okay. Raw tonight. I don't, okay, I'm just going to say it like this, is that there was no buildup. There's really no buildup. I remember like back in the day when you had like a PLE or pay-per-view, when it was called back then, so like if you had like a Shawn Michaels going up against, the Undertaker or something like that, man, the storyline, the writing behind that would have been so great because it was a buildup. Like all the matches for the pay-per-view were build up. You want to go and watch. You couldn't wait to go and watch. But now, after tonight, in the last few weeks, it has absolutely been crazy. I mean, yes, thank God that we have, Peacock. Because I don't think I would pay the money for a pay-per-view, as we call it now, a PLE, because there's nothing built up to them. There's nothing. There was no build up. Nothing to make you, want to say, okay, in 2 weeks, SummerSlam is coming and everything. I can't wait to see the matches and everything. Like last year, at WrestleMania, it was great, man. WrestleMania was good. The last couple of WrestleManias were good, especially with the Roman Reigns and, The Rock with, John Cena and not John Cena, but I'm sorry, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk and Seth Rollins and stuff. Like I said, raw and uncut. There will be some of those mistakes, but anyway, but I'll get it. So we're not having any of that. It's just not really good booking. I'm not understanding what Triple H is doing or the creative writers or anybody, whatever they're doing. It's just nothing is really falling in place and nothing is, being told, no storyline, no build-ups or anything like that. For right now, I think the women actually, have better storylines behind them, but again, on that situation, you're seeing the same people wrestle every week. Every week it's the same people, and that's why they're losing the programming, is because that's what they're giving. They're giving out garbage, really. It's the same thing. You can go back from the beginning of the year and watch a matches today, and it's the same people in the matches. There's nothing different. You have all this talent in, NXT. Bring some of them up. They have brought some of them up. Are they using them? No, they're making them absolutely like jobbers. It's just absolutely insane what WWE is doing right now as far as, the talent that they have. It's unnecessarily that we have to sit here week on week on week on week on week, months on months, PLE on PLE, watching the same matches and stuff with no storylines behind them, no build up, no nothing big. But anyway, this is about Raw. And we're gonna go right into it and stuff. It starts off, with a film promo with Braun Breaker. You know, um, as far as the gauntlet, and they trying to see how he was. Since he beat down Penta, he beat down Jey Uso, he beat down LA Knight. But why? That's the thing that I don't understand. They lose to CM Punk. But you got to understand, Jey Uso was a world champion. Jey Uso beat Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. And then him and Penta, Braun Breaker and Penta have been, back and forth as far as, their matches and stuff. And then LA Knight. LA Knight beat Braun Breaker. But why is it that they can't do nothing with them now in this gauntlet match? It's like making him look strong and everything. And Braun Breaker is not all that. He's okay and stuff. His mic work sucks, but he's okay in the ring. In the future, he might be a better wrestler, but not as far as what he did in that gauntlet match last week and stuff. And then finally losing to CM Punk, which is the rightful person to win that match. and stuff. And then we have Gunther. Oh Lord. Well, let me get to this. After that, film promo with Braun Breaker and with that gauntlet match last week, we have AJ Styles, you know, messing with, Dom as far as, being a valet with, parking the car and all that stuff. So there's a little bit of that, further on into the, into the night on Raw with AJ Styles and Dom and everything. So that was kind of funny or whatever. Case maybe I see where they're going with that. But anyway, then you have CM Punk come out, starts talking about, what he's done as far as like he's done and won a main event, but he's never won a title. But back in the day, before he left WWE, he was a world champion and everything. He was back in the Attitude area, and he did win a few champions back then and stuff. But I guess he's talking since the time when he came back. Now he has done, a WrestleMania, but it was on night one, not night two. Night two is usually the one to have supposed to have all the better matches in the better main event. He main evented night one of WrestleMania and stuff, but but anyway, then Gunther, comes out and says Gunther, whatever Gunther says. Gunther is, he's I'm just calling him a transitional champion because to me that's what Gunther is a transitional champion. And stuff, and he will lose to CM Punk at SummerSlam. And at some point, if Seth Rollins comes back before the time he has to turn the briefcase in for Money in the Bank, I think he'll turn it in, be successful over dethroning CM Punk as a champion. But that's to come and stuff. So, but anyway, Gunther is Gunther. He only has the same thing. He has a chop. He's not athletic. He doesn't really do much in the ring. I understand they try to build him up as to be this big old guy that can dominate on everybody and stuff. But look at the people who he's wrestled. Who's strong as he wrestled? Hell, he got, tapped out by Jay Uso. He had a Tosawa even took him to a good match. I mean, so he's, I don't know. I mean, back in the day, in the European time with Gunther, and then was at NXT, yeah, he did dominate, and he did hold the Intercontinental title for a long time and stuff, and he dominated with that, but it wasn't nothing. Never brought any athleticism to the ring. It was just, some talk, but a lot of chops and stuff like that. But anyway, through Gunther. Then we have Stephanie Valquer and Naomi in the back, and Naomi saying that she'll meet Stephanie Valquer at Clash at Paris. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, Naomi will be the champion after SummerSlam and the triple threat, which I don't like that they have a triple threat for that match and everything. I'm tired of seeing Rhea just being there and stuff. And then, it's the same people, but you don't have Bianca Belair at SummerSlam. What is up with that? Why we don't have Bianca Belair in SummerSlam at some portion of somewhere on that card? It just really makes zero sense. That's why I say Triple H. I don't get it. I don't understand. But maybe one day we will. Like I said, whoever put Evolution together, they did their thing on that, and that's about it as far as wrestling is concerned. SmackDown has been doing okay and stuff, but Raw has definitely been sucky. But anyway, we have Rusev and Sheamus again. For I think this is the fourth match, and finally Sheamus wins that match. I had to give it to Sheamus because he did try to go up on the top rope, and do some stuff out top rope. It was very scary and stuff. They hate to see that guy blow his knee out, especially coming back in not too long ago from an injury and stuff. Rusev, it was Rusev. Nothing exciting, nothing, anything to do flips or nothing about. And then we had the Dragon Lee and the El Grande Americano, which we all know is Ludwig Kaiser and stuff. And it's weird because even American Made has even say that he's a fake, you know, El Grande Americano, and I just don't understand. It just makes zero sense and stuff. Dragon Lee and El Grande Americano. I mean, okay, so eventually something's going to happen with that. Eventually, El Grande Americano will be unmasked, and we all know there's Luther Kaiser, but maybe at that time, Chad Gable might come back from his shoulder injury or whatever the case may be. But it was crazy, man. And then we have New Day versus LWO and American Made, for a triple threat to be number one contenders for the tag team titles. Um, this match was okay. I mean, LWO was doing their thing, especially Joaquin. Wow, he was doing his thing, and yeah, that was an okay match. I mean, the New Day, I think, like, and I've said before in other videos, that New Day needs to get more heelish. They need to do things that people are just gonna definitely start booing them and stuff. People just like the New Day too much still. They have to come up with something, that gets them over as a dominant heel or just turn them back as faces. If you agree, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, hit the bell. Um, Let me know if you agree or disagree and stuff. But anyway, the LWO wins that match, and I think it they should go on. They should go on. Have a good time at SummerSlam. I doubt if they win. You know, the titles. Judgment Day just got the titles, so I don't think they're going to take them from the Judgment Day. But I believe that it will be fast and it will be pretty good. And then we got the Belair. I mean, Bianca Belair. I mean, not Bianca Belair. I'm sorry. We have Bailey and Lyra Valquer. You know, and here we go again, talking about the title and stuff like that. And then Bailey tells Lyra that she got them a tag team title match. Why? It makes zero sense why they have a tag team title match. Because what if all of a sudden they won? I mean, it wasn't in the cards for them to win. It was just something to put together that was put together for them to go against, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. I mean, and it was an okay match. It wasn't too bad or anything like that. But yeah, we need to stop seeing all this because it just made zero sense as to why, you know. And then Bailey comes down anyway, she interferes into the match and stuff, and then her and Lyra get the words, and then Becky tells Lyra, the stipulation that Lyra had if Becky lost the match that she couldn't compete for the IC title as long as Lyra had the belt, and so Becky switched that around and stuff, and as long as she has the belt and everything. If Lyra loses, then Lyra cannot no longer challenge for the IC women's title belt and stuff. But then Lyra makes it another stipulation. No rules, no countouts. I mean, basically more like the best lady standing kind of match. It is going to be a knockout, drag out, and stuff. But whoever wins that match is going to be. I mean, kudos to them. I mean, Becky's lost a little bit as far as her in ring, as far as on the mic is concerned. But I think it's going to be a pretty good match. They both do have good matches together. Hopefully, after this, it'll be over, and then some people from the new roster, like moving up from NXT and doing something with some of those wrestlers there, and then ultimately from the Bailey and Lyra Valkyria match, you know, um, Raquel and Roxanne, they retain the titles and they win because of the interference from Becky Lynch. But anyway, then we get with Sami Zayn, him and Karrion Kross. Oh my God. Uh, and another thing with this, don't know what lie that Karrion Kross is trying to say that Sami Zayn said, the truth that whatever needs to come out or whatever the case may be. But Karrion Kross, I mean, he's not all that great and everything. I mean, he's good, but he's not great. I mean, he's not that one wrestler that I would spend money to go on and say, "Oh, I want to go see Karrion Cross." No, he doesn't do that. Sami Zayn is a way better wrestler and stuff. And I think Sami carried him through this match, even though Sami Zayn lost the match to Karrion Cross. But Sami Zayn is always good, But then again, wasn't it a couple of weeks ago he got tsunamied and he got put out, and they said it was a definite, but we are here 2 weeks later and he's in the ring with Karrion Cross. Okay, make that make sense. Make that make sense, because somebody say you're out indefinite, that means you're out for a long, time. Long time. And I just don't get it. And it's okay, it's crazy. Something's gonna make sense of this, and I don't know what it will be. And then we got again another skit with Damien backstage with Dom. Then he attacks AJ Styles, because AJ Styles is like um, I kind of like the segments that he has him doing, like, as far as the doctor thing is concerned, as far as the janitorial thing was concerned, as far as the valet thing was concerned. It's pretty okay. So now they're going to have their match. Dom is cleared to wrestle, and so they'll have that match for the Intercontinental title match at SummerSlam. So hopefully that will be a good match. And then we get with the Io Sky and Stephanie Valquer match. I'm not understanding why we're having this match, because Stephanie Valquer and Io Sky, I don't think they've ever had any kind of drama with each other. But I know the fact that they're good. Both of them, they're both great in the ring. This match that they had was awesome, awesome. It was, it was a good match. It was a good match until the her service comes in and interferes. So they come in, they jump on Stephanie Valquer again, her and Isla and Oliver and Piper Nivens. They jump on Stephanie, and then Stephanie gets like she did a couple of weeks ago, last week. She takes up a hand on both on her service and everything, beats him down, and you know Io Sky, try to do her thing to try to help, but they're getting beat down and everything. Then they beat, her service up, and as they're trying to, standing there waiting on the her service to try to come back in the ring, here comes Naomi, and Naomi attacks Io Sky, and she attacks her and pushes her into Stephanie Valquer, and then her service jumps on both of them, and then here as Naomi is beating up on Io Sky, here comes Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley comes to the ring. And then she attacks Naomi, puts Naomi down, and Naomi runs for cover like always. So I'm assuming down the line there's going to be a Rhea Ripley and Naomi match, I'm sure, after SummerSlam. I know they got the triple threat there. They'll have that, but it's not like a one-on-one and everything, and see who's who and stuff. I don't see Naomi losing this belt for a while. I'm gonna say whatever, maybe Survivor Series is when she drops the belt. Not sure to who. It could be, you know, could be to Bianca. Who knows? Could be to Stephanie. Who knows? We'll see. We'll catch it in the end. But stay tuned. But please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, hit the bell for notification. Um, and we'll just keep going on. Then we have Paul Heyman, coming out with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, expressly saying that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are the future of wrestling, of the industry and stuff. And then the OTC comes out. And he comes out, and let me tell you, the pop that the OTC gets up, came out into, I'm surprised that the roof was still on top. This guy, he gets such a pop. He's still probably the biggest draw right now, in wrestling, unless, maybe John Cena might get a bigger pop, you know, if Stone Cold Steve Austin shows up, you definitely know he's gonna get one. Or even if The Rock shows up, but I don't know, people could be woo or the people could cheer for The Rock. Either way, the roof is coming off the top and stuff. But anyway, Paul Heyman is saying to Roman Reigns, you know, um, that he didn't want to be respectful to Roman Reigns. He didn't want to be rude to Roman Reigns, you know. But basically, he was, saying or trying to get Roman Reigns to actually come back. We know that Seth Rollins is hurt, and so he's trying to get Roman Reigns to come to his side, I guess to be with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. But when Roman Reigns gets on the mic, he says H-Town, acknowledge me, and they just go crazy. They just super crazy for this guy. I mean, super crazy. Roman Reigns has to be probably in my top 5 wrestlers since I've been watching wrestling. I've been watching wrestling since 1965. I'm back in the day where Bruno Sammartino, was around. Adrian Adonis, Bobo Brazil, man, yeah, back in them times and stuff. So that's when I was watching wrestling and stuff. And Roman saying to Paul, that Paul thinks that he's the one that got the bloodline started. But we all know the bloodline is the bloodline. Just like Roman Reigns said, the bloodline is the bloodline because it's family. It has nothing to do with Paul Heyman. And then by Paul Heyman, being the person he is, because, Roman Reigns brought him into his family and made him, a friend, a guest of the family. And then he stabs Roman in the back by what he did, with CM Punk and Roman Reigns and joining Seth Rollins and stuff. And then Braun Breaker wants to get on the mic and start saying that he's the boss, he's the top dog, he's the new guy in charge, and stuff like that. Well, we all know that that's not true and stuff. Roman Reigns is always going to be the top dog, and he lets Paul Heyman know that, the bloodline, was his thing, not Paul Heyman's thing. And Paul Heyman is the one that ruined the bloodline and not Roman Reigns that ruined the bloodline. I mean, we know at that time when Roman Reigns was in charge of the bloodline, he was a heel and stuff. But then the events that happened around it, as far as CM Punk and Seth Rollins, it was crazy. And we all saw at WrestleMania where Paul Heyman's, where he lied, where his loyalty was at and stuff. And it was with either CM Punk nor Roman Reigns. But we never still got we never got the reason why he went to Seth Rollins. It's still out there. It's still out there. Roman Reigns even kind of touched on it. Why? Why did he do it? And then there was another point that I liked about Roman Reigns saying that the bloodline was bloodline, and that's a God thing, not a Paul Heyman thing. That was pretty cool, classic, and I like that and stuff. But then, like I said, Braun Breaker steps to Roman Reigns, gets the mic, speaks nonsense, saying he's a top dog. He's the future. He's going to do this. He's going to do that, and everything. And then Roman, he told Roman to leave the ring and stuff because Roman was a has-been. He was a 5-year guy and stuff. 5 years ago when Roman was in his prime that he was good, but not now until Roman leaves the ring. As Roman goes out to leave the ring, he tells him, you know what? I didn't hear a word you said. I didn't listen to the word you said. I don't even know what you said. I think your mic was broke. And when he said that, he said, here, hold my mic. Threw his mic, hit him with a Superman punch, and it was on after that. You know, Braun Breaker goes down, then Roman attacks Bronson Reed. Then Bronson Reed, gets him off and pushes him into Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker spears Roman in half. And then they start to beat down on him. Then out comes Jey Uso, and Jey Uso comes out, a couple of super kicks and everything, stuff like that. Then him and Roman Reigns both spear Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. They go down, they stand tall, and that's the end of the show and stuff. But anyway, I thank you for watching. I know this is a long video, but I thank you for watching. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Deuces, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.